Grimbergen Dubbel.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Man's Bikes and Booze Reviews. I have got yet another one from the Grimbergen Brewery from Belgium. This is their Dubbel, and I've tried one of theirs the other day, the hop character, which was okay. Wasn't standout, but it was a pretty good blonde sort of Belgian ale. This is the Dubbel that they've got in their range, and as I said on the other review, there's all sorts of alarm bells ringing with this. You know, they're owned by Heineken and Carlsberg, and it's brewed in different countries. This is brewed by Kronenbourg in France, and you just think, oh, for fuck's sake. Anyway, I was quite surprised actually, because it wasn't a bad beer, all things considered, and I'm hoping this isn't too dissimilar. Now the reason I got it was because all these, well, I got it from Beers of Europe, and basically they'd sold out of all the good stuff, and I'm seeing this across all these online beer retailers because of this coronavirus bullshit. The European beers are selling out so rapidly, and you know, you're just getting left with what I would consider the dregs, you know, because all the good stuff has already gone. But I've managed to get a few decent ones, so, you know, but it's important you support these online retailers, because as it stands, this is the only way they can make their money. So, you know, rather than going around a shop, just if you can afford it, just, you know, shell out a little bit extra and just get it online. Even the breweries, the craft breweries as well, just, you know, just help them out, because fuck knows there's going to be some terrible carnage wreaks because of this stuff. You know, a lot of breweries are going to go bust. I don't mean the big ones, of course they've got money to burn, but the little ones, the craft brewers, and you know, the Abbey breweries and all that, hopefully it won't be too bad. Anyway, let's get back to the beer. What is it? Well, as I say, it's a Dubbel. It's a Belgian Dubbel, or a beer de Abbey, as they say in French, or an Abbey beer, as you say in English. A lot of this stuff is in Flemish, so I can't read it. I'm not too good on the old Flemish. There's a little bit in French, which ingredients: water, malt d'orge, don't know what that is, syrup de glucose, you know what that shit is, sucre, you know what that shit is. Oh, and they got colour as well. E15C Houblon, whatever that is. Is that even a thing? Extract de Houblon. I'm hoping that that's hops. This fucking colour, you know. Well, this is what you get. You get fucking colours. I mean, brewers that need to put colours into their beer. I mean, it's bad enough putting sugar, but for fuck's sake, you're putting colours in? Really? Ah. Anyway, I could be completely wrong. Let's just open it and let's see what's going on. First of all, before I do, here is the cap. Orange cap with a phoenix on it. Here is the label. It's the Grimbergen Phoenix. This is supposed to represent the fire that reeked through the Abbey that this was originally brewed in. You know, usual caper. Let's get it open. Let's see what's in the bowl. On the nose, out of the bottle. Faint aromas, they're not strong, and I'm really struggling to get anything. Slightly roasted caramel malt, some sweetness, some syrupy sweetness, a little bit of spice maybe, but not a lot. I want to get it into the glass. Now, it's supposed to be drunk out of a tulip glass. This is the nearest I've got to a tulip glass, so let's get it into the glass and see what is happening. As I say, this is 330ml, which is basically half a pint or just under. Wow, it's pretty lively. There is a 2.5 finger head on it, slightly off white, foamy white head, tightly packed bubbles on that. On the nose, out of the glass, what we're getting. Yeah, I can smell that syrup from here and the sugar. It's reminding me of the Guinness Foreign Extra. I was getting a similar smell out of that, and that weren't too bad, to be honest. So, you know, what do I know about beer ingredients? But it does smell sweet. And, you know, there's a little bit of sort of roasted barley on that, caramel, a little touch of toffee, but that's about it. They're very insipid flavours, very insipid aromas, sorry. Let's get it down the hatch. Let's see if we can get anything out of this. Immediately, masses and masses of sugar sweetness. Now, if someone else tried this, they'd probably say there wasn't much sugar in it at all, but I'm quite sensitive to sweet beer, and I think I can spot a sweet beer when I taste it. Yeah, so you've got that syrupy sugarness, not from the alcohol. As I say, this is 6.5% in the volume. Did I say that before? I can't remember. But it's not the syrupy alcohol sweetness. This is just sugary sweetness that's coming out of here. They're calling it a beer to Abbey, or an Abbey beer. Now, to me, the Trappist, Rochford 10 and the 8 are what I would consider, and Orval and, you know, even the Westmail stuff, that's what I'd consider Abbey beers. But this seems like a very poor imitation. That's really disappointing. For me, that's just way too sweet. There's just too much sugar. I mean, they've got syrup, and they've got sugar in it as well, and you really do get that, and it clings to your mouth afterwards, and not in a good way. Some people might like this. It's quite agreeable. For me, I just find this way too sweet. I believe they've cut far too many corners on this, and it's not good. Where you've got, I'm not going to say big corporations, you know, that doesn't really sort of mean anything to me, but I just think they've cut corners on it, and it's not good. But the thing is, it actually looks good, and the lacing on the glass is really nice. I'm just noticing it now. I just think there's too many corners been cut here, and they've just poured loads of sugar into it. That's the impression I'm getting. It's just, no, it's not really for me, I'm afraid. This isn't. I'd be for an Abbey beer, I would be expecting big caramel malt, yeah, there'd be a little bit of sweetness, but there would be some, you know, a little bit of hop bitterness on that, a touch of the spirit alcohol, and maybe a little bit of spice and a little bit of fruit on that. I'm not getting any of that. It's just killed with the amount of sugar and syrup that's in this, and I'm not keen. So what's the verdict? Well, I just think there's just too much sugar and too much syrup in it. Doesn't really, you know, there probably is little characteristics of Belgian Abbey beer and that, but they're just crushed by all the sugar and the syrup they've put into this, and I think they've just cut corners. They've pumped that out as a, you know, a Belgian double, and to me, it's just, I think they've ruined it. It's not really for me. Some people may like it if they find the, you know, the spirit alcohol and the, you know, just some of the spice that you normally get on Abbey beer. If they find that a bit too overpowering, well, you know, they might like this because of the sugar. But you're not really drinking an Abbey beer. You're just drinking a heavily sugared dark ale that doesn't really taste of anything, really. Certainly not the characteristics of an Abbey ale. So on that strength, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10. I'm really not impressed. I'm contemplating whether to drink the rest or not, but no. I think their blonde ale is slightly better. Well, I would say slightly. I quite like their blonde ale, but this, no, it just doesn't do it for me at all. I'm comparing it to the Westmails, and this just doesn't compare, really. It's just, there's just too much sugar. And as I always say, you know, a lot of these brewers, they put these sugars into their beers, and if you do that, I feel, and colours as well. I mean, for fuck's sake, if you're putting colours into your beer, if you can't get it right, you need to put colours into it. I just think, well, nah, it doesn't do it for me. And it's a 3 out of 10. I'm not going to recommend it. So there you go. And remember, I'm drinking this shit, so you don't have to.